So let's talk about spirit and matter, okay? And we're going to do this in kind of a list, but we're going to talk through different worldviews, and then we're going to try to hit a crescendo with the Christian worldview. Ready? So on one side, let's put spirit, and on one side, put matter. Now, most of us in the West have no idea, but we actually think very much like the Greeks, who liked to separate spirit and matter as separate from one another. And so the two things are not at all the same, right? So that's a nixed out equation. Equal then. Ready? And as a result of that, some Greek thinking thought that we needed to understand these things as against one another. It's spirit versus matter. And as a result of that, some people have come across thinking that the Christian worldview is actually that of spirit versus matter as well, but that's not exactly the case, right? So some people might have this worldview where they'd say spirit is greater than matter. It's more important. We need to give emphasis to that. But then we also have the flip side where some people say, oops, let's redo that one, where matter is more important or greater than spirit. That would be a more materialist worldview rather than a spiritual one. But there's something unique that happens within the Christian worldview because it doesn't start with that mistake that spirit and matter are completely separate than one another. In fact, the Hebrew Bible has no word for, quote, spiritual. And so therefore, there's also no word for unspiritual, not in the same way that there was in the Greek language. So instead, we have something kind of like this, which there's a similarity, but it's not exactly the same thing. That equal then sign with that wave, it's a similarity. There's something unique going on. Okay? But in the year 451, there was a famous creed written by the church, and it's called the Chalcedonian Creed, and sometimes people say Chalcedonian Creed, but it tried to reconcile the two natures of Jesus, being fully God and fully man. And the high crescendo of that creed is when it says that the two natures of Jesus, divine and human, exist without confusion, division, separation, or change. You can look it up. And it's probably a very helpful way to think about the relationship between spirit and matter. There's no confusion. We shouldn't confuse the two. But there's also no division. And we shouldn't separate. And it's not as though one changes into the other, although some people think with string theory and more modern approaches to science that spirit and matter are actually far closer together than we thought. And so maybe we should also think about this as an option. Spirit is within matter. And as a result, we can say things like baptism or the Eucharist, spirit comes to us within that matter. Like matter is the container, it's the thing that carries spirit to us. We experience spirit through matter. And so what we need to do is come to a better understanding of how spirit and matter are interlinked, how they actually work together. They're not against one another. One happens inside of another, and we all experience life only through matter. And so maybe what we should do is revert back to a more Hebrew understanding rather than a Greek understanding that loves to separate, that loves to divide, that loves to differentiate between one thing and the other, because maybe all of these things are so much closer. Maybe there's like a dance between spirit and matter that makes them inseparable. So maybe we should put that. Spirit is inseparable from matter. And guess what we call that? That would be a sacramental view of the cosmos, that somehow spirit is making all things sacred and holy. If only we have the eyes to stop seeing everything in these dualistic splits. All right. So today, if you have communion or attend a baptism, great. But also, how about this? Enjoy that croissant. Enjoy that espresso. Enjoy that pie. Enjoy that iced tea if it's a hot day. Enjoy that shower, that hot tub. Enjoy that cookie later today, because spirit and matter, maybe they actually are not against one another, but exist without confusion, division, separation, or change. Okay? So cheers to all of you. Have a lovely day.